All right. I'm not going to lie. I'm really excited to have this next young man on the Sports Card Nation guest line here. But before I intro him, he's sort of been on the show before because he was on Hobby Hotline. I recorded. We did a main stage thing at the National. Myself, Brody the Kid, and this young man I'm about to have here on Sports Card Nation. So he was on Hobby Hotline, but this is his first ever appearance on the Sports Card Nation side of the house. And I think it's time to have him on. He's 13 years old. He's got his own podcast called Sports Card Second and doing great things with that. And so without any further ado, let's welcome Jacob Burris to the show.
Thanks for having me on, John. Finally, just kidding.
Yeah. It's good to have you on, man. I listen to your show every week, and you do. I gotta say, not that you need me to tell you this, you're getting better every episode. Really, you're gonna put me out of business very soon here. I don't know why having you on. I should be mad at you. No, I'm just kidding. But you're doing great things, man. You just had Dr. Jim Beckett on your show, which was a great episode. That's always nice to have someone of that stature on, and I know you're getting to know him a little bit, and you'll get to know him even more, and that's cool. But welcome to Sports Card Nation, man.
Yeah, I'm super happy to get on here. I've had you on my show, so it's definitely exciting to come do a home and home.
Yeah, the home and
Yeah,
home. So we like that in podcasting. So
yeah.
I got to ask you, man. You're in the 20s, I believe, in your podcast. You do a weekly show. You're starting to get more guests on. What made you start a podcast? When did the thought pop in your head, and kind of talk? For those that don't know, kind of explain how the Sports Card Second really became Sports Card Second.
Yeah, so really, like, I had actually been running a blog that not really anybody knows about. I haven't posted on in a while, but I had run a blog, and I was just like, I feel like I'd been listening to a lot of podcasts, sort of some MLB shows, also Sports Card Nation, Fat Packs, Wax Pack Hero by Mike Summers, really good as well. I listened to those, and I'm just like, I feel like it would just be fun to do a podcast or like a YouTube channel or whatever. And actually, so I had been sort of researching how to do it. And then I heard like an Anchor ad on your show when you were still with Anchor, and I was just like, oh, you can make a podcast that way, that easy. And I just download the app and basically start a podcast. Start out recording into AirPods, episode 1, the origin, and I sort of learned learned a couple things after that episode. But really, here I am. I think I'm about 34, 35 episodes in.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's basically it started out sort of just like, well, might as well do this. It's just sort of for fun, and now I'm here with Dr. Beckett, John Newman, and
Yeah, me. I'm not on the same. Listen, let's clear up any kind of any kind of doubt. I'm not on Dr.
oh
James
god,
Beckett's level. I'm just glad I know him when he talks to me sometimes. So, but no, all joking aside, he's a hobby icon, a hobby
yeah,
legend, and
yeah,
but more than that, he's a great human being.
yes,
So,
he's such an awesome person.
yeah. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm getting guests now. Since the national, basically since going on the main stage, I realized, like, yeah, I really can't have guests on the show. I'd really just sort of messed around with a couple of friends just to do an episode or two. But now I'm having podcasters on. I'm getting guests almost on a weekly basis. So I'm trying to, and it's been a lot more fun getting guests on. Obviously,
Yeah.
the hobby is the people.
Yeah.
A little plug for you on your own podcast.
I owe you $5. I'll send that when I send you your podcast guest card. I'll throw that
All
$5
right.
in there too. But no, you make a great point. The hobby is that's how I came up with the tagline.
Yeah.
It's just really I was on another show and they asked me like, "That's a great tagline, man. How'd you come up with it?" And it's really a boring story. It's just I thought the hobby is the people. It's
Yeah.
really, and there's no real like aha moment other than it just makes sense and it's true, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
I like what you said. You said, man, I heard your ad when you were with Anchor. Man, if that guy can do a podcast, I could do one too. It's like, so which is true. If I can do one, anyone can do one. Uh, and then you didn't start out with guests, which is kind of the same trajectory I went on. When I started, it was just me, and then I listened to those episodes, and I'm like, yeah, we need someone else on the show because this guy's not that interesting and or good. And then I'm like, wait, that's me. I'm like, truth hurts sometimes. So then we started getting guests on, and what you'll find, and maybe you're finding this out already, Jacob, is at first it's going to be a little more difficult. Not that it's hard, but it'll be more difficult at first. And once you get going, I went from having to chase people and try to tackle them to get them to come on the show to a point where it's hard now. Like I'm not being cocky about it, but like, hey, I like to come on, and I gotta sort of like schedules people. I guess that's obviously a good problem to have. So it
Yeah.
just takes a little patience. You got to build things up, but works out in the end. And I've listened to probably, if not every episode, pretty close to them, and you've really polished what you do, and it's I'm not related to you, but I've gotten to know you. I know you've asked me some questions. I've tried to help you out as much as I can and as best I can. And so I take a little pride in that, and to see how much you've improved here. Like you said, you're in the episode 30s, and like I said, I'm gonna probably be out of business soon, but just promise me when that day comes, like maybe I could guest host sometimes on Sports Card Second. Maybe I
Sure.
could read like a commercial for you or something, or do like the intro. Like I could be like Ed McMahon to your Josh
Yeah.
Darson. And then you might be too young to get that, but look it up on YouTube. You'll understand what I'm saying. But no,
Uh,
you're doing a great job. All joking aside, what's now that you're 30 something episodes in, what's been the toughest part? What's kind of, not that it's tough or hard work or man, but there are difficult moments. What part maybe is a little difficult that you didn't really think about or realize until you started doing the show?
okay, so really, I mean, just at the start, obviously, there was no guests really, like just sort of just be like, "Yo, you want to just do a podcast tonight or whatever?" Just my friends or whatever. But really, I honestly think getting guests is kind of hard, like just to track them down. Right now, I do not have any social media, so that kind of makes it a little tough. But I do what I can. I find websites, whatever. Um, so getting guests is kind of hard when you don't have social medias. You can't have DMs and all that. But um, yeah, honestly, the toughest part is probably getting guests because social media is a major part of being able to get people to join nowadays. So, um, ever since I started doing guests, that's one of the hardest things.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good point by you. Then you got to coordinate times. They can do it this time, and then maybe you
Yep.
can't, or vice versa. It's tough. I had a job I'm no longer at where I worked to 6 p.m., and so everything had to be later. Now I have
Yep.
a job where I work to 2:45, and that sort of opens that window up for I can schedule some earlier interviews
Yeah.
if need be. And so, you obviously go to school, and so unless if I was you, I don't know if this might give it. I don't think your dad's gonna like me telling you this. I would schedule interviews during school days, during school hours, and then tell my dad like, "Hey, I'd love to go to school today, but I got an interview at like 10:30."
Oh gosh,
So
that
I'm
is.
I
He's gonna
guess me
listen to
out
this
of
and be like, he's gonna be listening to this and be like, that Newman guy's feeding bad ideas.
There's snow days, and then we can call these interview days. Here in Syracuse, we have
uh,
kids have snow days in school when we get bad weather. You can make interview days, and so and if you need someone to sign, like, hey, please excuse Jacob from school yesterday. He was doing an interview. I'd be glad to sign that excuse pad.
yeah.
We talked about the difficult part, which is scheduling interviews and getting interviews. What's been the best part for you? What's been, like, you knew it was going to be fun. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you wouldn't do it if you didn't think it would be
Exactly.
somewhat fun. But what was kind of maybe a pleasant surprise? You didn't realize that part was going to kind of be cool.
Okay, so there's kind of two parts to this answer. The first part is when the guests respond and say they will be glad to come on the show. That is just super fun. And then getting them on the show when they come on is super duper fun. Getting to meet all the different people. But and then the second part, like, just this thing is just like the most fun thing. Like, basically, because of my podcast, I was able to go on the main stage at the National with this guy right over here. And
Yeah, I don't know how
I
that
mean,
happened.
I
I
don't
still
either.
haven't. I'm still waiting for that check that you said you were going to send me. But no, it was great. And to give a little backstory for those who might be listening that don't know this kind of how that really came about, I'll give the short version of it. You wrote me a nice email. It really hit me in the feels, as the kids like to say, and basically saying that myself and Brody the kid, were sort of inspirations to you as far as what we do and in the hobby, and when I read it, obviously, if you know anything about me, and I think you do know about me, Jacob, and other people do too, kids in the hobby are an important platform to me. As you know, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm still a big kid, but age wise, I'm not a kid anymore. And I got started as a 7-year-old kid, and we need the kids. I'm getting older. I'm not going to be here forever. I hope we're here for a lot longer, but that's part of life, is that we're not going to be here forever, and so we need that next generation to come up behind us, whoever they are, young men and women, both, to kind of take that baton, almost like a relay race, and run that race forward, and then in turn, the next generation coming up behind you guys. And so when I got that, and you said how old you were, and you were doing a show, and I immediately checked it out, and I showed my wife that email, and she goes, "Wow," I was like, so I got a wow from her, and but all joking aside, um, I love feedback from whoever, but that one got to me. And then I was thinking, I knew the national was coming up. In responding to you, I asked you if you were attending. You wound up where you were going to be. And then I just thought, man, I'm going to be on the main stage with Brody, who's the same age pretty much as you, or pretty close. And I'm like, how great would it be to have you up at some point during that show, and get to talk to you? And here it is, your first national, and that's really how it came up about. I don't know who was more excited, you or me. Brody was somewhere in the middle. That guy's been on the stage a lot for
Yeah,
his age, and so it was old hat. But that kind of stuff, man. The hobbies is supposed to be fun. It is fun,
it
as
is.
you know, and you just talked to Dr. Beckett. His line, I say the hobbies, the people, and his line's very good too. Where with hobby, this is the greatest hobby, and it really.
Hmm.
I'm biased, but it is, and I believe every word of that Dr. Beckett said. And here you are. It's the greatest hobby, first national made. I mean, that's the hobby. That's having fun, making memories. Hobbies of people, meeting people along the way to make those memories with, and was something I'll never forget. And I'm sure probably you won't as well.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's not our last times
Yeah.
on the main stage. And like I said, when you put me out of business and you're up there every year, maybe like every once in a while, every once in like a couple of nationals, you can bring me up and say, "Hey, remember this guy? It was a long time ago, but he used to do a show." And no, it's great, man. And you know what? What are your future plans with the show? Obviously, going to keep doing the show,
Yeah.
but I mean, what do you want? Like, where do you see the show going? Or I mean, I don't want to. I don't. I'm actually just looking for ideas to steal for this show, but I'm just kidding. But like, where do
uh,
you like? Do you have you looked that far ahead? Like maybe what you want to do, or add on, or change, or do an addition, kind of thing.
yeah. So right now, so there's a couple short term things and a couple long term things. So right now, one thing I'm working on is a YouTube channel. You'll have to be listening to my podcast to know when that drops, but that is coming soon. Right now, I'm also trying to work on equipment. That is something that's kind of important to me. I really want to put out quality shows for you guys. And then for long term, I do want to eventually start making money off of my podcast. Just, I mean, a little bit. Right now, it is ad free, but eventually there will be sponsors and monetization. That's one of my main future goals. Right now, I just sort of want to keep it fun. I don't feel like I need sponsors. I mean, I'm 13, and I mean, there's not honestly, I don't have enough listeners right now to make very much at all. But but really, that's some of my goals. Especially, but really, the thing that I really, really, really want to make happen is the equipment. I'm working on that right now. But yeah, the quality of my shows is really important to me because I know that the better the quality, the more the quantity, as in people that
Yeah,
listen.
no, it's true.
So yeah,
And you know what? That's a testament to you, Jacob, that you care about and take pride in what you're putting out there, and that's something to be said to that, right? When Sports Card Nation the first few episodes started 3 years ago, or almost 3 years ago. Um, the equipment I had then is not what I use now. So, and that's just sort of a rite of passage, right? And you're like, hey, I want to do it better. Like this was okay, but okay is not going to be good enough. I want it to be better. And then you get better, and you want it to be even better. And as you know, as time goes on, there's new technologies, better stuff gets released, and you sort of want to upgrade, and that's just a natural progression. But to hear you care about that speaks a lot about you, the person, you, the podcaster. That hey, now it's fun to do this. I enjoy it. I'm having a blast, but I also care about the consumer on their end too. I want them to get the best product I can deliver, and that's important. And the fact that you feel that way, like I said, speaks to your how you are and who you are, and that's a good thing. And Christmas is coming.
yeah,
You know, you can put a PS5 on there, and then whatever microphone
exactly.
you want, and so there
Hey,
you
you
go.
forgot about baseball cards too.
Yeah, baseball. That's well. Listen, the other thing I want to mention because you mentioned it. Obviously when Sports Card Nation started, we didn't have any sponsors initially. Obviously now we have actually quite a bit. Now there's going to be. I'm not. If you know anything about me, Jacob, I don't mince words and I don't sugarcoat stuff. There are other shows, I'm sure, and other podcasters that will view a show that's sponsored in a negative light, like oh, he's doing it for the money, or I don't do it. I'm pure. I don't do it with sponsors. Here's what I say to that. You know, if you have a passion for it and you're not going through the motions and you care about the hobby, and I think you do. I know I do. And if someone wants to sponsor the show, I'll even say this, and 80% of our sponsors were unsolicited. In other words, they contacted the show, email or me somehow, and said, "Hey, we want to get involved with Sports Card Nation." I'm not gonna lie, I've turned down sponsorships because the product or whatever it is doesn't really go well with the platform. Maybe they weren't a hobby item. Maybe it wasn't something I believed in. So I don't shill for anything if I think it's not a good product or a good service, or it's not really, they're not going to benefit from an ad on my show. So my what I'm going where I'm going with this is, if you get sponsors, you know, don't worry about what anyone others
Yeah.
says. You're doing it for the right reasons. You when you watch TV, there's commercials. Yeah, we don't like them. I get that whole thing. They make TiVo for that, or where you can fast forward. Well, same thing with podcasts, right? When a commercial comes on, you can kind of skip 30 seconds ahead and get right back into the
Exactly.
show. So if that's the direction you go, you know, it's fine. And like you said, this is not. Let's be real. I think we're not breaking news here. This hobby is not necessary. While it's the greatest hobby, as Dr. Beckett says, but it's not the cheapest hobby.
Yeah, it's not.
Said by a lot of people. And so to offset, to participate, and there's nothing wrong with it. You're putting your time and effort and work into the podcast, and why not? There's costs involved.
Yeah.
You're going to build a YouTube channel. Could be some costs there. You want to get new equipment. There's costs there. StreamYard. If you don't have the free model, which I don't, I have to pay a yearly price for that. And so all these things can add up. So having sponsors. Some podcasters will you know, under their breath, kind of think you're a bad guy, and that's their business. But if you're doing it for the passion and because you love the hobby, we got bills, and don't worry about it. Do what you got to do, and as long as again, at the end of the day, it's what kind of show you're producing,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And that's what it's about. So that's my 2 cents and my little soapbox rant about sponsorship. And reason being is because we're let's be real, we're a pretty heavily sponsored show, and I've heard things be said. I don't really doesn't phase me or bother me, but I wanted to just kind of give you sort of a public 411,
Yeah.
if you will. All right, enough about podcasting. You don't need. You're doing fine on your own too. You don't need all this half great advice from me. Let's talk about some hobby stuff going on. I don't have to tell you about the Fanatics news. You very well know all that's gone on with that. I'm not going to so much ask you what you think about it, but if you had Josh Luber's cell phone number and you called him up and you said, "Hey, it's Jacob Burris from Sports Card Second. Hey, Josh, how you doing?" And he says, "Hey, Jacob, what's going on?" And he said, "Hey, hey, give me some advice. What would you like to see Fanatics do now that we have these licenses? You're my voice for the hobby. You're my spokesman. You're the representative. I can't talk to a million hobbyists. That's
Yeah.
impossible. I don't have that kind of time, and I really don't want to talk to a million hobbyists. So I'm going to talk to you. Tell me what we should do, what you would like to see. So you're kind of the representative for the hobby. You have Josh Luber's ear. What would you tell him you'd like to see them do that maybe the current brands aren't doing, themselves, or maybe not doing a good enough job in?
Yeah. So Fanatics. So honestly, people might slam me for this. I really don't care.
Doesn't matter.
Um.
You be yourself.
uh. So I honestly think Fanatics should not buy any of the brands, even though I know. I mean, look, yeah, I love tops too. Like that, I should put that on a T-shirt. I love tops too,
All right,
but
this
like,
is the end of the interview, Jacob. This is not the answer. No, I'm kidding with you. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut
uh,
you off, but
yeah,
go ahead. Go
it's
ahead.
fun. So, I mean, like I said, I love tops, but like if I'm Fanatics, I really don't want any of the brands to get my way. I want to just start fresh and hopefully that the people like it. Honestly, it is a change. Like, look, we are completely changing. We've had the same company for 70 years. 70 years. That is a long time. A long time. And I mean, look, if I'm Fanatics, Tops started over in 1951. They completely started over, new brand, new look, and it was a change from Goudy and Cracker Jack, like in tobacco cards. So now we're all the way up here with Fanatics 70 years later. Honestly, if I'm Fanatics, I just want to start fresh. I mean, maybe you do want to bring back like looks like Tops Chrome, Donruss Optic, Tops, Prism, whatever. But do I really want to buy a brand? Honestly, probably not. I feel like Fanatics should start fresh. But it's just like people are just cannot, like, I don't know, just people don't like change in the hobby, especially when you've had a company for 70 years. That is kind of a tough change. But I mean, there are collectors around right now that have been around since the Topps 51. Like, they've literally seen everything in baseball cards ever. So, I mean, just the change is tough for people. But look, if I'm Fanatics, not buying any brands, bring back those looks. Bring them back. Do Fanatics flagship. Do Fanatics Chrome or Prism, whatever you can call it. Um, but just start fresh, honestly.
I'm not saying you're wrong, and that's the beauty of the hobbies. We each have our own way we view things. I just want to ask you a couple questions. Where was Tops born?
Brooklyn.
Where was I born?
Brooklyn.
So, nah, I'm kidding. I was born. We both were born in Brooklyn. Top's a little bit older than me. I have a. You've probably heard me say this. I'm just busting your chops a little bit. I have a soft place in my heart for Tops. Listen, they've made plenty of mistakes. They're sort of culpable. Maybe the licensing being lost. I'm not defending them to that level, but maybe sentimentally because that first pack I ever opened was that 1979 Topps baseball pack. I'm sort of sad to think that that might be the end of Topps baseball as we know it. So I'd like to see, I'd like to see Fanatics buy Topps and keep some of those brands alive. But I also see your point too. Let's just get a fresh face in here and see what they can do. You're not wrong. I'm not wrong. These are opinions. I'm just kidding with you with the whole Brooklyn thing, just for a laugh, and I wanted to see if you knew too. To testing you out there. What else would you? What besides saying, "Hey, listen, do this yourself. Go on your own here." Besides that, what would you tell them as far as maybe what they produce, how much, maybe what you want to see come out of these packs? That along those lines. If he was listening to you.
Yeah, so I mean, like, if you're gonna do a flagship, you obviously have to do basically a mass production of it. So I mean, I really don't care what happens out of there. Just make it kind of look cool, nice inserts. Just really what people want is a sleek design and a huge set like that. But if we're talking like autos and stuff, parallels, honestly, there is way too many parallels on, like, just have to be honest, like select, like, what is Panini doing with like the tiger stripe, elephant skin, giraffe? I'm like, who wants a giraffe skin prism? I mean, apparently a couple people do because they still make them. But I mean, like, just do like the silver, the gold, the orange, like, just do like, basically do the 101. Obviously I mean, there has to be 101s.
Yeah,
Just do
yeah.
number to 10, 25, 50, 100, 150, and maybe a 250 or something. But honestly, there's way, 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 way too many parallels. That's something I would like to see change. And here's something that I know people cannot stand with Panini or Topps. Honestly, Topps is a little better about it than Panini, but is the player worn or the event worn or all that or no specific game or event. Look, there is never going to be a company that can pull off something where every single jersey is game worn. Like, look, I know people cannot stand it right now, which I don't know why people can't stand it now because it's never been a problem until now. But I mean, it's just like there's never going to be a company that's going to pull it off. I mean, it's basically impossible. So, as memorabilia cards go, at least okay. Look, don't just take a jersey and cut it up like no specific. That is something I don't like. But at least make it player worn. Just put
Yeah.
it on the card. So and then autos. I mean, I know people hate their sticker autos. That's never going to change either. So I mean, really you can't change much, honestly, the parallels. And if you can do a little bit with the jerseys and autos, just do it. The high end stuff, I'm good with what we have. I mean, the some of it, if you could, okay, here's something. If you could somehow set like a price that would be not like Panini Donruss is like $800 for a basketball Panini Donruss is literally like $600 or something. Like, can we like have our base sets like actually what they're worth? Also something else, like I know people like get mad like, oh, my value, like I opened flawless, got $10 worth of cards. Like, guys, opening cards is basically a lottery ticket. You're never gonna, I mean, unless you pull the Zion RPA 101 or the Logo Man, whatever, you're not gonna, almost never gonna get your value back. So I mean, if you, I mean, just maybe put a little bit more value, but that's really all I could say. I mean, really, you can't change much because you can't change it. So, I mean, just people stuff that people hate, you can't really change. So that's honestly just really the parallels. And we have low end, we have medium end, we have high end. I mean, as long as it's affordable to somebody, which everything is. So, I mean, that's all I would change really.
All right. Now I agree with you on more points on that round. I'm not gonna lie about it. You hit the parallels right on the head, Jacob. Way too many. But they're important. We need to have them. I get it. Uh, and I think you really summed it up for me very well. It just have some order in there, right? We don't need all these weird, zebra, pinstripe, camo, giraffe, leopard skin. Who knows? I know I'm leaving stuff out. Get your colored parallels in there if you want to do a camo. I think it's just a plethora of all these parallels. I remember you're young. I remember you do a rainbow of a player. Let's say it was 10 to 15 cards. Now to do a rainbow, it's like
It's like
100
40.
cards.
Yeah.
Like it's not even like you can't even attempt it. It's too
No,
daunting.
it's
It's like
impossible.
I'm a fat guy. I would probably try to run a marathon before I tried to
Exactly.
like complete a player rainbow. And so it's become difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible. Some people can do it, but it's definitely going to take a lot more money in
Hmm.
today's parallel landscape because there's just so many cards. I want to see that kind of. I don't know if it'll ever be exactly the way it was, but closer to that than
Yeah.
what we have now. So yeah, I'm waving the same pennant with you there. Everything else you said on that go round, I pretty much you're speaking for me as well. And so get a hold of Josh Luber and let's go with this,
Yeah.
Jacob.
Yeah. One more thing about
Yeah,
parallels that I
go
forgot to
ahead.
mention. Is this is the dumbest thing. They literally have 10 one-on-ones. Why don't you just make one parallel number to 10 instead of having red, orange, blue, yellow, green, purple, red,
Yeah,
orange, blue, yellow, green, purple? Like, they're all one-on-ones. Like, just make one one-on-one. They're one-on-ones for a reason. There's one,
yep.
not 10. one. My dad has this Kyle Pitts card he bought, and he was like, "Yes, one of one Kyle Pitts auto. Let's go!" And then he looks it up, and there's 10 other colors.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. It's one of the reasons is cool it is to pull a printing plate, right? You get a
Hmm.
1-on-1 printing plate, and then
It's
you
really one of
realize
three.
it, yeah, or 4 or
Yep.
6 or 8, depending on the product and how many printing plates there are. I mean, it's still a cool thing to pull. Don't get me wrong, and I've pulled
Yeah.
them, and it's a cool movement, but it's not the same as like you just explained that where if you truly get a 1-on-1 wear, it's just that one card and you're the only person who has it. Like you want this
Exactly.
card?
Hmm.
Here's my email. I'm the only one you're going to get it from, and that's if I trade it or sell it. Other than that,
Hmm.
I control the destiny of the
Exactly.
card.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, I got to ask you this. I'm an old guy. You're a kid, but a very brilliant and bright young man. And we're seeing more kids in the hobby. At least I feel that way. I just did a show here in Syracuse this past weekend. There was a good amount of kids there. I was glad to see it. How do we? Again, I'm going to make you the spokesman now. How do we get? And maybe this is to Josh Luber too, since they're going to be taking over a majority of these brands and releases. But it doesn't have to be just for him. Just in general, how do we get more kids in the hobby? How do we keep this positive trend going? What would you suggest or do?
Yeah, so I mean, getting kids in the hobby, that's super important to me. I mean, I'm honestly I'm talking to a couple of people right now, helping them out get started, but this is super important to me. When I started the show, that was kind of what I wanted to reach out to. That's why I'm having these people on to be able to explain stuff from a kid's eyes so kids can understand it and kids want to think this is cool and tell their friends that it's cool and their friends tell their friends that it's cool and so on. But something that I love is the Panini Kids Crate. That is something super awesome. It's a set price and only kids can buy it. So, or you have to have a kid with you at least. So, I mean, that is the greatest idea. Like, and especially to have your kids with you, like, it would just be like chaos. Like, especially with like products like Big League that are meant for kids, it's just like case breaks on YouTube. Even like, I'm just like, why do you even want a case break Big League? It costs like nothing, but um, especially, yeah, Topps, great job with Big League, especially the last 2 years. They have done a lot better with that product. Kids Crate is a great idea. Keep doing that, Panini, please, until you're out of business. But I mean, if I was gonna keep or try and get kids in or keep kids in the affordable products, I would make a couple affordable products that look really cool, have inserts. Especially with Big League, though, you have a chance for autographs in there. Like that is awesome. So, I mean, keep the autos, the really cool inserts. Like just print stuff that's cheap, but like make the cards look awesome. Like with the defensive Wizards cards from Big League, I'm sure you've seen a couple of those.
Yeah.
They're literally awesome looking. I mean, just like they're just like basically on cardstock. I could go and buy at Walmart, but I mean, you might as well like they just look awesome. Like just make the cards look cool. That'll draw kids in. I promise you. And keep the kids great. That's just something awesome. Like literally the greatest idea in kids hobby history is the kids crate.
Yeah, I echo what you said. I think you can make, I think a company, whoever it is, Topps and Panini for the next couple years, Fanatics when they take over with their licensing agreement, I think you can make a kids product at a price level and still make some really cool looking cards, have autos in there, have game used cards in there. Like you said, no event used, no, hey, he threw this on top of 10, he wore 10 jerseys at the same time. This is a piece from one of those 10. These companies can make a halfway decent product at a price level kids can afford. I know some people out there listening to this and going to say, yeah, but then flippers or resellers are going to buy them all up. And then, if they make the product too good, the adults are going to scoop it all up. and the price is going to go up. I get it. I'm not saying that's necessarily completely untrue, but if they're geared towards kids, like you said, the paninis, what do they call it? The kids crate. You
Mhm.
have to be a certain age to be able to buy them. And they have some sort of way of doing that. So they can do something along those lines and still make a product that looks cool. There's cool inserts, cool autos in there, and they can do that. If we want to come up with a name for a Fanatics version, I got one for it. What do you think of this, Jacob? Fanatics Fun Factory.
Oh gosh.
All right, your homework is to come up with what Fanatics kids crate should be called. All
Yeah.
right, you can say it on your show. You
All
can
right.
like you can talk about me asking you the question, and then give the answer on your show. What should
All
the
right.
Fanatics kids sort of exclusive product, be called? And who
Yeah.
knows? And maybe they'll hear it, like it, and you get there's your first sponsor right there,
Ooh,
and a big
fanatics.
yeah, and a
And
big
they'll
one,
just be
right?
sending me like everything.
Yeah. Then you won't have to buy as much.
I know. I'll never have to buy anything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Another product I like to see. This is tongue in cheek, by the way, for those out there that don't get my humor. Let's have like mother signed cards. The big controversy was that Luka Doncic's mother signed some of his cards. Let's just have her sign some cards. Like this is Luka Doncic's mom's autograph. Like
Oh
she's
my
in the
gosh.
she's in the pro she's in like the new
That
Fanatics
that
basketball.
would be the greatest thing ever invented
Yeah,
of all
yeah.
time.
And
It's like
put Dak auto pens in the football release. Like there's no deception. This is a Dak auto pen. Dak
yeah,
didn't sign it. A machine did that he has in his workout room. Signed this card, but you got it. It's still a rare. It's still not an easy pull, and put it in the
yeah,
top loader. And they can do it with other players' relatives, right?
yeah,
Like this is James Harden's uncle signed card. Whatever. They can have a lot of fun
oh
with it.
gosh.
So
Yeah.
you know, I'm
Yeah, like
I'm half
like
kidding, but you never. Who
yeah.
knows where the
No.
hobby's going next.
Yeah, like let's see. Would you rather have a Miles Bridges on a auto on a LaMelo Ball card or a LaMelo Ball auto on a Miles Bridges card?
Yeah,
I mean,
all that stuff.
yeah, Miles Bridges signed this authentic LaMelo Ball card.
They could each sign. They could sign each other's card opposite,
Yeah,
and so
the
when you
photo,
when
Miles
yeah,
Bridges,
It's an
LaMelo,
it's
fire
a
LaMelo.
it's a error done on purpose. And so when you
Yes.
pull the ball and you think you hit the ball and you got a Miles Bridges, like, oh, it's just a Miles Bridges. And when you pull the Miles Bridges,
And it's
you're like,
like,
no, it's really a LaMelo ball. It's like Bizarro world. But we're
yeah,
obviously poking a little bit fun
yeah.
at some things that in the last few years in the hobby. But
Uh,
it would be kind of funny to see like relatives autos in
yes,
the
that would be
product,
really
right?
funny.
So who knows what we're going to see next. We've seen celebrity
Yeah.
autos. I know Don Rush, Panini did that with the football.
Yep.
They put like fans of the game, and they had celebrities wearing the colors of their favorite NFL team, and there's some autograph versions of that. So it's not
Mhm.
uncharted waters. We're kind of just poking a little bit of fun, but who knows
Yeah.
what we'll see next, and that's kind of coming down the home stretch here. The last question I have for you is, you got a lot more hobby left in you than I do, so I'm going to ask you. I mean, where do you see this hobby going? Like, where do you see the future? And no time limit. It can be the next 5 years. It can be 10 years, 20 years. I mean, obviously the hobby's in a good spot right now. With a lot of new people in it, a lot of people buying, selling. Do you see that, number one, I guess, continuing, Jacob? And where do you see long term? If I, told you to put on your analyst hat here, where do you see this hobby going here in the future.
Yeah, so really obviously like we are getting so much technology by the month, by the day, honestly. PSA is obviously going in with technology. We've seen HGA with their technology, which we don't need to talk about HGA, but um
Yeah,
uh
that's you'll never be invited back out if you talk
yeah,
too
that
much
that
about
might spark a little bit of a rant from this guy over here.
it.
But
But I
yeah,
hear
but
you. Go ahead.
yeah, but anyways, so obviously we're gonna have more technology into the hobby. Honestly, we're gonna start seeing that injected into cards. Obviously, we've seen that with like Prism, and then like in honestly, Prism was like a huge technological thing, sort of after it got popular. Obviously, early years wasn't really that popular, but really, we're gonna see a lot of technological change. The grading companies are going to change. We're going to probably see grading companies. Unfortunately, the prices are going to stay high because they don't want the base card revolution again with LeBron 2018-19 revolution. I honestly didn't think that would come out like that, but it did.
Yeah.
And then we've got Fanatics coming in. How are they going to do? I have no idea. Hopefully they do well. But it's honestly something that I'm just going to say over and over is the technological changes. It is going to change a lot of things. Unfortunately, we're going to see some cards are going to be switching over to all NFTs, and some companies are just going to be NFTs. Like, look, I am not exactly a big fan of NFTs. I have played Tops of Bunt and all those games, but like NFTs, just like I don't know. I feel like they're just the companies just want to keep moving stuff over electronic. Like we're seeing all these like Tops Now releases electronically. We're seeing Tops do like their basketball thing with NFTs. Um, we're seeing Panini do all their blockchain, which Panini is scaring me a little bit because they had their Prism on blockchain already. They had um, their UFC Select on blockchain. So this is that kind of scared me a little bit. I was just like, don't take those products now. But I mean, we're gonna see a lot more NFTs. We're gonna see obviously the buying and selling is gonna be the same. With all our technology we have, we're able to use like Card Ladder, Sports Card Investor, Market Movers, all that to gauge our cards and view the up and down like stocks. Honestly, that I mean, look, my dad is like huge financial like into financial stuff. I know with the stock market how it goes, but like I don't. Cards are not a stock market. Like please, 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 cards are not a stock market. To be, I mean, look, they're the flippers. Like, I mean, look, I get it. Like, people are gonna make money off it, and they're always gonna be the flippers. They're always gonna be. I mean, cards are treated as real estate and stocks. Like, there's flipping all over the place and buy and sell immediately. But look, that's just never going to change. I mean, with all the technology we have, that is definitely not going to change. Honestly going to be more and more of those to be able to make. It's honestly kind of easy to make money right now with all of our technology we have, but that's never going to change. And then really, it's just um, the. I'm just really, really, really hoping that our wax it needs to just like the NFTs. I just keep coming back to it. I just really do not like NFTs that
No,
much. But yeah,
you probably heard my rant on
yes, I
NFTs. I'm
did.
sort of the old man on the porch. Like if I can't hold it, see it, touch it, I mean it's not even a picture in a magazine. At least the magazine's a real piece of paper, right?
Yep.
If it's just somewhere out there in the digital world, I mean, I can say I own an Honest Wagner just in digital form.
Hmm.
It's not the actual card. I got to have that thing, in either on my desk here in the
Yep.
showcase, or in my hand, or in a binder, it's got to be
Yep.
real to me. I don't get the NFT thing. Plenty other people like it and do it, and that's why it's still a viable commodity, if you will, and to each their own, right? I always say
Yep.
on this show, and hobby your way, hashtag hobby your way. While me and
Hmm.
you don't like NFTs and maybe won't be buying those, other people do, and we'll stick to the genuine articles. I
Yeah.
guess is the friendly way to put it. But no, I think you. I mean, do you see? Just kind of hit on one more point. Do you, we're seeing a lot more new people get into the hobby. Some people don't like that. I kind of do. We were all new at one point or
Hmm.
another. Do you see that trend continue, or you think we'll hit a plateau level? You think we'll hit a level where 10 people will leave today and 10 new people will come today, so we'll sort of be at the same level? You see a plateau?
Honestly, with how hot the hobby has been, like just look back at 2019, like it was growing, but like the hobby, honestly, it's just going to keep growing. It's like inflation. Like it's just going to keep growing, honestly. But like with how hot it is right now, it's just going to feel like we're going to sort of smooth out or go down a little bit. It's just because we had the literally the hottest news, records being broken every day. Um so I mean, I feel like we are kind of at a plateau right now. But it may just feel that way because it's been just on fire, everybody, um, going in at the same time. But yeah, so that's honestly what I feel like.
Yeah. No, I don't. I think you're probably going to be right on many of those things. We'll see. The fun is right. Some of the fun is seeing what's around the corner next and what's going to happen next. And you're a great ambassador and advocate for kids in the hobby, but more than that, for anyone in the hobby. Right, the hobby is for everyone. I don't care if you're 92 years old, like myself, or 13, or 13 like you are, right? We all
Uh,
can enjoy. We can all enjoy the hobby. It does not matter, male, female, old man like me, young man like you. We all can enjoy this hobby, and I think you do a great job. As I use two terms I use. You probably heard me call people advocates and ambassadors. Someone asked me, "What do you mean by that, John? What's an advocate and an ambassador?" And to me, what that means is someone who promotes the hobby because they're passionate about it, loves it, tries to help other people, tries to spread good info, positive info as best they can, help anyone out that's maybe coming into the hobby, new or old. Maybe someone's been in the hobby, and hey, what's this NFT thing about?
yeah,
And while I may not like it or you may not like it, I will explain it to
yep.
someone.
Hmm.
I won't trash it first. I'll just say, hey, this is what it is. It's not something I'm fond of, but you'll have to make that decision
Hmm.
for yourself.
Yep.
To me, that's being an ambassador. You kind
Hmm.
of maybe you give your opinion, but you also don't try to talk anyone. You let them make up their own mind while explaining what's going on in the hobby. I think you do a great job. You're passionate to not just kids in the hobby, but anyone who listens to you talk about the hobby. I think that's important. You don't need me to tell you this, but keep going. I enjoy what you're doing. That you'll pick up steam the more you do it, and I think you're seeing that already. And I look forward to have you on many more times. And when you're doing the main stage, and I'm not getting invites no more, I want you to return. I want you to return that favor. You owe me a main stage up here. I'm kidding
I
with
do.
you.
I do.
I'm kidding with you. You don't owe me anything, man. You're doing a great job, and keep going. As you know, if you listen to the show, I always give the guest kind of the last say where people can find Sports Card Second. I know you said you don't have any social medias at this point, but I listen to the show. But how can other people listen to that show? Give out all that info right here.
So yeah, so right now, you can listen to Sports Card Second every single major platform: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, literally everything. I mean, basically, if it has podcasts on it and it's a podcast-driven app, it's gonna have my show on it. Um, right now, you can contact me if you would like to just talk to me, whatever, ask me a question. Especially if you're a kid, please do. But if you're an adult, go for it. Ask me a question, whatever you want. It is sportscardsecond@gmail.com. One more time, sportscardsecond@gmail.com. That is always in my show notes. So if you want to head over there, subscribe, leave a rating, a review, and hit me up with an email, and I'll definitely be replying back to you because I love getting emails.
I got to ask you this. I got a big timey here. Are you on? I forgot what the name of it's called. I can look it up, but I'm not going to do it right now. We're recording this live. There's an Indian podcast platform in the country of India that I'm on.
I might be on it.
You
I
got to
have like
check
a
that
tenth
because
of a percent.
you haven't made it, Jacob, until you're on the Indian podcast platform.
I'll
I
have to
am,
look.
or the show. I should say the show is. I think when I check my demographics report, there is 3 people downloading it off. I think it's called like Servan or something like that.
Okay,
There is
I'll look
3
it up.
people. There's 3 people in India listening to Sports Card Nation. Shout out to those 3 folks. Thank you. I don't know if they downloaded it by accident. Might have to click something else. But thank you just the same. But all joking aside, it's fun to be on all these platforms, as you just said.
Yeah.
And you must be doing something right if you're on all those platforms. So,
Yeah, right.
keep doing it. We'll have you back on, and we'll see. And like I said, when you talk to Josh Luber, tell him all that stuff because I agree.
I will.
I agree with most of it. So
All right. Yeah.
all right,
All right.
buddy.
Thanks, John.
Be good.